Hey, good morning, traders. How we doing? Veterans Day here in the States, and the market is closed. Looks like there's some movement. I'm not trading, but I just thought I'd do a little review. Um, when I sit down and look at the market in the morning, especially for new traders, what do I do? Well, after I watch, the market's going up, so we don't need to get too crazy about that. But I'd like to just mark out my swings. How am I going to approach the market? What do I need to look for? There's that news bar we were talking about the other day. There's a coil right here that looks kind of interesting, but it's all the same stuff, right? We're looking for that impulse leg that goes up. We're looking for that impulse leg that goes up. There's an impulse leg right here, right? How do I know it's an impulse leg? Because it took off from the low up to the high, took out the high. Happens over and over and over again. So I'm just marking out my impulse legs. Just watching price climb up. People want to call it a breakout. They want to call it whatever they want. These are the terms that I use. Impulse leg, wash, shelf, those types of things. On this larger one, so look at this is basically what I'm just doing here, right? Impulse leg, shelf, wash, there's your shelf, and there's your entry right there, the back side of the shelf. For a nice 3-to-1, 5-to-1 trade. I'm always shooting for 3-to-1. If I can get 5-to-1, like if I can get inside this swing, like if I can get in here, for some reason I was able to get long on this guy, I can change my risk to say, ooh, 5-to-1, it's got to take that out. My favorite trade is catching something down here and getting out right before this pressure cooker hits, because you can see the action off the pressure cooker, right? So if I can do a 3-to-1 trade, and this is all about just staying consistent, staying profitable, requires you to be consistent in what you're doing. And so I know the market's up. I know there's some things that are going on. So price will probably continue up, but you just don't know. Nobody knows. That's the thing. Nobody knows what the market's going to offer. And as I watch this, I look at this stop here. If I get in on this shelf, I'm like, wow, that's a really big shelf. Now, maybe I say, let's wait for it to maybe come down here, because I know this is my stop. I know this wash is where I'm going to put my stop. So I may take my risk down here. And then that is a much more manageable trade if the market continues up. If it continues down, you're done. But you're not risking a whole lot of cheddar to make, a really nice trade on the upside to the long side. Just a couple things to think about. There's a lot going on. And you don't need fancy colors. You don't need fancy indicators. You don't need anything other than price and a couple lines to help you see what it is you're trying to see. Draw out the high, draw out the low. If you're a Fibonacci guy, draw out your fibs, and this is how I like to see price. This is how I like to see the flow. This chart here didn't offer much, looking for something closer down here, to get hit. Doesn't happen. But the next swing up makes a really nice trade, a little double top. You even have one over here. I can just see the pop out here. I can see the retest here. Guys, this is what happens over and over and over again. And it's our job as traders to just map it out so we get a clear understanding. I'm going to freak you guys out. Just get rid of it. Get rid of all that stuff. I'm not chasing different charts. I'm not chasing different markets. I'm mastering the setup I can see. I can see that. That's 3 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to add a retest. Your entry's right here. Look, I just drew that up. There's your 3-to-1 trade. All right? Worth the price of admission. Practice this, practice this, practice this. This should be easy for you to see. It's just follow it down. Now, I know we can see this in hindsight. I get that. I've always challenged myself in regard to some of these things. But if you know this impulse or this setup works off the impulse leg, off the shelf, look, I could really, if I'm really trying, I can see it in hindsight. I don't know if I'd take this trade, but all the other elements are there, right? To retest the low. Step 1, impulse leg. Step 2, build the shelf. Maybe that's the shelf. I don't know. But once it comes down and takes this out and starts pulling back, I'm going to start looking for this stuff. And if I want to take this trade and that looks like that wash doesn't look that good, maybe I drop it right here and I take a bigger stop. Maybe I take a bigger stop behind something. Look at this bar here. It's just really big. Drop, 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 boom. I don't go right behind it because that's where all the stops are. That's where everybody's hanging out. Maybe use a cash stop and say, I'm going to risk 15, bucks on this trade or whatever your contract is. And you nailed it. It's practice. It's practice. It's practice. It's working with mentors. It's taking classes. It's clearing your mind. You really, really got to practice this stuff if you really want to get it. And it's not easy for me even, I'm a 30 to 40% win rate. So I'm not bragging here. I'm just telling you what I do to get myself centered, squared away on a daily basis just to get myself going. All right. Go find those swings. Talk to you later.